a big congregation, but with lower cadre people. So if you want a big mega church with a lot of people who give you small donations, pandambegu, then he showed him the other option. The other option is you'll have a small congregation, but they will be wealthy. And then he gave him the third option. I don't remember the third option. And this pastor was very, very terrified. And so he ran out of there. You've heard stories about pastors who have anointing that is done by wagangas. And the one I find very funny, this one I was told by a lady from Australia, and I think it had happened to a South African, that the man is given treatment to when he raises his hands, people fall. And the treatment is in the soap. So when they go for a convention, the praise and worship leader goes and uses the pastor's bathroom. And so they go and start the meeting. So every time this praise and worship leader starts to raise his hands, people start to fall. And this pastor is very quickly figures out something is off here. This man seems to be having my powers. And so he calls him very quickly and tells him, "Did you go to my bathroom?" He said, "Yes." "And what did you do?" He said, "Yeah, I used the bathroom." "And then did you wash your hands?" "Yes, yes." And so he figured out, oh, he's used my special treated soap. And so he told him, "Okay, now sit out there, the service. Don't. So people, when they hear these stories, they think someone sat somewhere and thought it up. So I want to believe there are a lot of people in leadership who do all these things to get in power. But something seems to have gone different, very different. It's like people's eyes have been opened. I cannot explain it. And for your information, I used to preach, so I'm not preaching. It's just that now I gather information in different formats. So I tell stories, and that's why I tell people I'm a storyteller. And so it's why is it the young people now that, and I want to address even to those people, even all these Subaru boys who are just as desperate as the other young people. You saw 22 of them who are working the other regime are rotting in jail. They were a special squad. And even now they're still wearing balaclavas when they are being brought in court. Is to tell you that I feel blessed that I've seen a generation that has been chosen. In as much as there's a lot of pain, I also feel like I am blessed to see people who have childlike faith. When they go to these streets, honestly, when you hear them talk, sikujifanya. And so what the system is doing is they sit down and they say, okay, who is bringing these people to the streets? They calculate, they say, well, all the these NGOs are bringing these ones were about, actually, these people have the capacity to bring a million people to the streets, because if we have 100 organizations and they can all marshal and bring like 10,000 people to the streets, which is possible. So they've humanly speaking, they have figured it out. And that's where the divine comes in. And if you don't believe in the divine, I don't know what else to tell you. Because how do you explain the breach that happened? They've explained it to us. They've told us, you know what? It was actually this guy, number 2, who was fired, who brought his squad. They've even told, people came and started whispering in my ears when I host this space. People come and try to tell you what to say. They don't say it, but they want to influence you. And they said, you know what, this guy, he actually brought 10,000 people. Was that the number they were giving? And he wanted to overthrow the government. Who told you that? We saw the crowds with our eyes. These were our children that were in the streets. Respectfully, our children, not they were our children. We saw it, we felt it. Then we saw when the goons came. If you talk about that's what happened on 24th, what happened on 8th? What happened on 8th is Kina KOT were here mobilizing, Kina Mkenya Daima, telling people to come from all over the country. And all the vehicles were stopped from coming into CBD. So they came. And they know they came because they can tell from your phones whether you came or not. So for all of us to sit, and I feel people very frustrated coming to preach to us how we should organize politically in a time of deliverance, because this is, KD likes to say, let my people go. This oppression has gone on too long. Nobody, not the wealthiest man in the world, not the most organized politician in the world, Nobody knows what's going to happen in the next 6 months. Nobody. You can sit here and say, Alonso is organized. No, no, no. The only thing we must encourage and continue to encourage is let the young people do it with their ignorance, if we want to call it ignorance. Because what you look at as ignorance is childlike faith. So I've seen a lot of times people want to take credit or who have a formula. And I fight with them. In fact, there's one guy we fight so much hata tupendani kupatana kwa space. Because he comes and tells you people, you can't be saying leaderless, leaderless, leaderless. When David was being anointed to become the king, so despised was he in his family. So despised that even his father did not think of him immediately. He thought about the tall ones, the well-groomed ones. This one was just a herds boy out there in the fields. So that's why I see when I keep talking about the purity, and I use that word very deliberately, the purity of the youth. They are not pure because they are celibate and they are not, they are pure in the sense of the games people play. These people you call globalists, these people you call, they are pure in the sense that they don't know those things. Some of us, the knowledge we possess becomes our undoing. The knowledge that is possessed by this cabal of people with billions in the bank, in offshore accounts, the knowledge they possess is they have been assured by the way the Titanic, they always say, sorry if I misquote the exact word, they said not even God can sink this damn thing. That is so sound that not even God himself can sink. And that's what they're saying. That system is so tight, not even God can bring it down. And so, sorry if you don't believe in God, sijui nitakwambia nini sasa, you might have just to go and do the political analysts. You go and listen to them speculating. I say it repeatedly and I never change my mind that this battle belongs to the young people. And it doesn't belong to them so that they're the ones who have all the answers. It belongs to them that they were the ones who are trusted to dare the system. I'm talking about people who've never been told no in their political career. They've never been told, no, you cannot do that. And then some little boy here draws them, and another young man there says that he had done it. Nobody has ever stood up to them. So you can understand why they're frustrated. They are frustrated because they have been dared by a child. Now that's why they keep repeating the word child, your children. And notice the words and notice the choice of words. These words are very deliberate. Our children are a gift from God. Now, go and take those children who are a gift from God, now teach them manners. So if they are a gift from God, why not talk to God to talk to the children? Why address us as parents? Why not address the children? And sorry, when I'm saying, for me, I call them our young people. It's them who keeps repeating the word our children because they can't bear to say these are citizens, these are voters, and these are the leaders. I've overspoken. I didn't mean to preach. Sometimes I can preach. Ronyo, you are back, and Ronyo, please just take 1 minute, and then I would want Joshua. I don't know, KD, if you want to say something. A leader, maybe one last thing. KOT, everybody, just one last thing. But Joshua can speak a bit more. Yeah, because you had not made your submission. So I don't know. Yeah, Joshua will make your final. You'll be the last speaker. So Ronyo.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, continue.
All right, thank you. I'll just take a minute. I just want to appreciate, thank you, Redemptor, for holding the space. And thank you, KOT, Joshua, everybody. I appreciate you all. I'll just take a few seconds, not even a minute. I just want to say that the spirit that we have to for pushing for good governance and that desire, the hunger to actually see the best, as I think KOT was saying that. What our young people and what every other person is looking out, I mean outside Kenya, is already it's already available in our country, that we can build a country that has all that other countries have, that we don't have to go anywhere to look for better for whatever thing that we are looking out there, when our country can really accommodate all of us. The only problem we have, and was in another space where one of the guys from Uganda was saying that I was asking him an old guy. He's called Dr. David. I forgot the other name. I was asking what really ails our country and our continent, Africa, that you see these people who are so power possessed that they always run to the West, like children when they are called by either by when there's someone in France or in the US or in China, and they run there because they are going to say with the pictures and presentation of of the project that they want to bring and the development they want to bring to the countries, so that they can get all these fundings, all this money, and then when they get all that cash, they already know where all this money will go. Somebody was saying that I don't know how factual it is that before they removed Gachagua Rigiji, Mr. Must went to China and he got 40 billion because he called his goons from the central region, asked him how much will it cost, or are we going to do so that we can remove this guy out of the picture. So, and he was told we need to finish all the project that all the stall project that Uhuru had left, and so that this other guy who will come, Kindiki, will be the one launching all these other projects so that he can be accepted by the people on the ground. So when he went and he said this, the guys told him, now we need like 20 billion. So he said 20 billion for that, for the projects, and then he was told we need another 5 billion for the other people, to smoothen the ground. So that's 25. He said going to give all that money in one region, it will be an issue. I'll try to see if we can get more so that the few billions will be spread here and there around the country, so that to try and smoothen the environment as they go through this process. That's why when that money came, because they were given 40 billion from China, nobody, there's no project that they can point their finger to and say that's where the money went. All that money was used to remove one guy, one person. So you look at those type of leadership that we are having, the kind of rotten leadership that we have. The country has a lot of resources that can be able to support each and every one of us, that the children can be going to school without paying a dime. People can be going to hospital without paying anything. We can have people having young people graduating and getting jobs without them being told, oh, we are going to allow you to go to finya computer hapa na pale and then madola zitatoka. That is stupidity. So the kind of leadership we have, the problem we have, the only problem we have, the scarcity we have in the country is not the lack of resources, it's lack of good leadership. If we can remove all these rotten potatoes when you are ndani ya parliament and in state house, then our country, we can heal our country. Thank you so much, Demta. I appreciate for the time. Sometimes naongeaga mingi. God bless you so much, and mkuwe na wakati poa.
Yeah, thank you very much, Katie. Katie, unmute your mic. Okay.
Yeah, me in a mob, to you guys, happy New Year. Uh, to all the mothers, mother, keep your heart. I know it's not an easy one to handle, but we just put you in our prayer. Best I can say right now. I don't think words can equate to what you guys feel. I just hope that God will give you strength. We hope for the abducted will get to see them someday soon. Let's pray for dark before that. Thanks.
Thank you very much, KOT. KOT umelala? KOT ndio anaranianga space mpaka 2 am. I'm trying nisipatikane na 2 am. KOT, Elida, your last submission, make it short.
Okay. Thank you so much. And for me, it's really a privilege to be in this space to interact with like-minded people like me. And nataka tu kusema we must get our country back, because these people devil worshiper. They've taken over our country, and as the devil will always change the narrative. It's a well-known fact. He's the father of all lies, and as we can see even right now, there are youths wale uko Western. Now kuna youth come out and they're just accusing Wamutata of. They're against Wamutata for reason best known to, but anyway, they're just all paid goons. And we can just see that this guy, Ruto, the noose is really getting tighter. And I don't think kuna mali ataenda. And as we are seeing, of late, I think maybe someone was even saying that there's an embargo. Because he really used to travel so much. He was the most traveled president all over the world. And of late, he has not left. He's not been traveling. I think there's an embargo on him, and he's been voted the most corrupt person on the world, after Assad. So the only thing I can continue to agitate for is we must continue pushing. We must continue, to post, Ruto must go. He must go, actually. He's not good for our country. He's destroyed the nation. We've seen within 3 years he's been in power. And come 2027, we will not make it there because we will not have a country. So mtu tu lazima, by all means, he must just go. And, and hizo pesa hata ameiba, I was talking, my brother-in-law was saying that the guy is in the finance world. He stole so much money. I don't know how many billions, banked by Alice Bank or JP Morgan Chase, uko New York. But anyway, that account has been frozen. So you see these Africans, they're so stupid. You steal money from your country, you go bank it abroad, and then zinaibo. So at the end of the day, that money hata itamsaidia. So as we have crossed over to, in fact, bado niko na 17 minutes to New Year. I'll keep on praying for my country, and I'll keep on agitating, and I'll keep on shouting. And I'm somebody who is not intimidated, because I remember COVID in this country. I was one of the people who really stood up and never took that vaccine, and I was really hated. But you must stand up for something, because if you don't stand up for something, you will fall for anything. Kwa hivyo tu mimi nawawisha Happy New Year, and it's nice just being in this forum, and God bless Kenya, and God bless us. Let's pray for our country, and let's remember these people who have been abducted. Let's cover them with the blood of Jesus Christ. I always believe in prayer. There is so much power in the blood of Jesus Christ. Asanteni sana, and God bless you. Good night.
I don't think there's any embargo. I just think it's making so many enemies. You made enemies with the deputy president, whom you knew very well, utamtupa kwa mbele. I mean, these stories, I told you I talk to a lot of people. It's only I don't like to do political analysis. I just like to motivate people and say that thing that you're feeling in your heart, trust it, and keep going. KOT Sonko umeamka. Huyo mnakuanga na namba yake ya tip, mtumie tip kesho asubuhi amke mwaka mpya akiwa na kakirus. Joshua, talk to us.
Thank you. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, loud and clear.
Asante. Kwanza asante sana Redemptor for keeping us here till this moment, and for keeping this conversation going, and for your resilience. I mean, you've been holding these spaces back to back, one after another, and you never get tired. I appreciate you, I celebrate you. And KOT Sonko, you've also been hosting and co-hosting. Appreciate you, bro. I mean, people have spoken, and thank you, Elida, for I think I identify myself with everything you've talked about, and I'm not gonna say so much more. I just want to say that the struggle still continues. We have been able to learn from our mistakes, and we have had enough time to learn of those who've been sent to infiltrate the movement. But that is not enough, because we know when moving forward, we're going to get many more of them. I can confidently and authoritatively say that the regime is tired, and they're also very desperate for ways to actually like kill the spirit, the spirit of uprising in the country. They are seriously desperate for any information that will help them kill the spirit. And that's why, for those of us who were arrested, they took everyone's phones and they requested the courts to give the DCI some time so that they can check into our WhatsApp, Facebook, and X accounts. Good thing I was, in the streets. I had a friend of mine, actually a group of team that I were with, that took my phones. So they never got to take my phones from the police station. So they really are trying to look into what is happening, where is the information originating from, and who is fueling what. Because if you look at the charges that were preferred against us, some of them hata unacheka tu, ati causing breach of peace, acting in a manner likely to cause breach of peace and likely to incite violence. Some very flimsy charges. So that tells you. And yesterday, by the way, we asked the OCS in charge of Central Police Station why we could not, be granted free bond or cash bail at the police station. He said, we've received a phone call from the topmost office in the country. And he was saying that very he was saying it as if it's just something, any other thing, that tumepata simu kutoka ofisi ya juu zaidi na wamesema mtoki hapa muende koti kesho na simu zenu mtupatie, zinabaki hapa, DCI watafanyia kazi. So really these guys are very desperate, and anywhere ukiwa na eruption in any part of the country, wanafikiria sasa that is the place, wanafikiria that is where we are going to get what we want, that is where we are going to get the information. They are playing a trial and error, which I think is to our advantage, because then the moment they will get tired and then we shall have cooked enough, then kitalipuka. Mimi, I had said we must use the abnormal ways to be up and standing in these in the current times. The tides are too high, the currents are too strong. So that means our skins must be thicker than they have been. Our spirits must be higher than they have been. And that means we must be ready to endure so much more than we've been able to endure. Then we shall talk of a revolution that is coming. And I feel it. Honestly, I feel it. I feel something is coming. It is never so clear from the very beginning. And that's why everyone who's demanding a complete solution to this, to this mesh we are trying to create. And that if you don't have that complete solution, then that means you know nothing and they can't consider your plea, your solution. That is an enemy of progress. This thing is a work in progress. It's work in progress. No one has a complete solution. And that's why even the state and William Ruto is seriously struggling to deal with young people. Now he's sending his MPs and CSS to go and talk to parents in churches and tell them, talk to your children. If you see someone resort to such, it means wamejaribu, imeshindikana. Like they seriously don't know how they can deal with it. And that's why they're even abducting people. The abductions are leading to many more of what they are trying to kill. So anyone who demands of 100% plan, success plan for the movement, for the revolution, is an enemy of progress. It can never be too clear from the very beginning, but it's continuous building that will help us see the other side. It's like the earth, which is not plain. I don't know if you guys took geography in high school. I know it could be a long time for so some of you. But the shape of the earth is not a straight thing. That's why if you're in the ocean, you probably traveling, but auoni nini inatoke feri ikikuja. So utakuwa unaanza kuiona juu, unaanza kuona the topmost part pole ikikuja until you're very close to it. That is how it's going to be for us. We are not going to be able to see what is on the other end of the earth. But the more we move closer to it, the clearer it becomes. The more we move closer to it, the more defined it becomes. The more we move closer, the more we are able to see any obstacles and encumbrances that are along the way as we move towards it. Then we are able to think through how to, overcome such encumbrances. Of course, there are encumbrances that we can always, we can always think about before, because we already know there is an ocean or there is a sea. And in a sea, we at this point, or at this distance from the shore, this is the depth, and that means this is one of the encumbrances we might face. But not all the things can be pre-proven. That means there are certain things we'll have to meet along the way as we go, and we must develop a strong spirit and high spirits that will be able to overcome all that. So let's continue. Let's continue. We are going to hack it at the very end. Ultimately, in the fullness of time, we are going to hack it. But let's also be very patient with ourselves, and let's trust our guts. So many of us have seen something is coming. Let's trust our guts. And do not be afraid. Tulikuwa tunasema kwamba tukiwa huko ndani mtu asikuuzie uoga. Uoga is too expensive for us to buy. We can't buy it. So mtu asiuzie mtu yeyote uoga. Let's go forth and work for the Kenya we want. Let's go forth. Because look, it will be very bad for us to feel defeated for something we've fought for, say for now some months, close to a year. It will be very hurting if we fight for 2-3 years and then we never see progress. And then we just, we just retreat and never go back there again. We shall have lost a lot of energy, a lot of effort, 2-year, 3-year effort, 2-year, 3-year energy, without seeing any result of that. I mean, we have to stick to doing what must be done. And if there's any support that you can give, because not everyone can be on the ground, not everyone can execute some very radical plans that will be coming forthwith. In your own small space, in your own small way, whatever it is you're able to do to support the movement, do not feel bad that you're not able to come to the streets when everyone is coming to the streets. If you're not able to, you're just not able to. But that which is within your hold, that which is within your reach, do it. Even if it is about posting spaces at the time so that you keep people aware of what's happening. Even if it's mean going live on X and TikTok and always updating people on what is happening. Even if it means mobilizing, if you're abroad, mobilizing the diasporans from your place and ensuring that this is the conversations that is going on abroad. Because those are the same people who, if we decide to seek asylum, those are the same people who will help us get asylum in those countries. That is, if push comes to shove and we cannot stay in Kenya anymore for one reason or another, these are the people who will help us do that. These are the people whom, if we are accused of trying to overthrow the government or trying to topple the topmost office, will help us with strategies. So just think of what you can do in your space. Not everyone is gifted the same. We're gifted very, very differently. And that means use that gift that you have. I mean, this is the time that our musicians should come up with serious revolutionary songs. We want to start chanting and everyone, children in high schools and everyone should learn patriotic songs. Patriotic songs, not songs that are sung for people, so for some, self-centered human beings who decided to sort of make the syllabus or curriculum in Kenya, be about them. This is the time for our musicians to come in. You don't know what music does to the minds of people, young and old. Music does something. When people sing and they reflect and they meditate upon the words, it gets in. Someone understands the basis upon which he or she is actually fighting. Someone understands the reason, the need for this fight, the need for doing everything that we are doing now. It strengthens it strengthens actually the zeal for the movement. And one would always want to wake up singing and actually actualizing the words that they are singing. This is the time for musicians to work on their spaces. This is the time for film producers to produce movies and to portray it as it is. The problem is that sometimes these politicians decide to sponsor some of these movie productions. And then they are at the center of the film. Now there's no originality. There's no authenticity. It is meant to send a certain agenda. Now, this is the point we need to get real patriotic film producers. Produce films that will document what is happening in Kenya. And most especially what has happened in the last 6 months. Everyone has to get up. I can tell you, if you're a film producer and you're here, hatutashindwa kupata pesa ya kama ni film yenyewe tunaona story umeandika vizuri, Kenyans can relate to what is there. And it is actually telling our true story. Hatutashindwa kuchanga pesa hapa kwa X ama anywhere else na to produce your film. Hatuwezi shindwa. And in fact, hatutashindwa kumobilize people to come for movie premieres in all the towns in Kenya. Hatutashindwa. You'll get enough and even more. We have to think of something to be done. This revolution cannot only be led in the streets. That once in a while some of us go to the streets and that's it. Once in a while some of us. We will continue going to the streets. But even as we do that, why don't we attack it from all corners, from all angles? Why don't we have writers writing about the same thing? And you ensure that once you write, you share with those of us whose spirits are so deeply into this movement that we will always want to share anything that is supporting the movement. Write an article, write a book, share with us. Let the people of Kenya read. Let us promote this with everything and anything we have. That is the only way we will be able to move forward. Lakini tukiacha tukifikiria tu this war can only be won on the streets, on social media. No, it should be one everywhere, on the streets, the grounds, on social media. We need to have songs, we need to have movies, we need to have everything, books written, articles going out, name it, everything. Then we are going to get where we kama bado hatujaanza hizo vitu zote, saa hii ni online too, na a bit of streets, and these guys are this stressed. Imagine if we had thinkers writing articles and writing books and writing, and being columnists in most of these newspapers. And everywhere you read, you can actually read the spirit and letter of revolution. You can smell the ink of revolution. I'm telling you, it will be over for all of them. And we also have a tactic of finishing the tree by starting to cut the leaves and branches. And of course, digging a little bit of roots. Should you be able and willing, let us connect. Because if we can't cut the tree at once, then let us dry it. Kama hatuwezi ikata tu ikauke, itakufa bado. Si lazima iangushwe tu na power saw, ati imeanguka ndo imekufa. We can as well dry it. And drying it means we get done with all the leaves. Cut the branches. Kuna mahali itaweza kupumua na itakufa. There are so many ways to do this, and we have to think of all those ways. That is why we keep testing one after another. And once we bring all this together, I can tell you, freedom will be assured. Thank you so much. God bless you. Let's keep the conversation going. Happy New Year. Redemptor.
Thank you very much, Joshua. And I think one of the things these spaces do for people like you who are sold out is they provide for you a place for affirmation and also for therapy. By just being able to verbalize, then you're ready to remind yourself that God saved you for a reason. Many were abducted and they didn't make it. And I'll say this: every generation, it skips a generation. Some of these special gifting, it skips. When you talk about, I see people come and ask, what can we do? So in terms of the creatives, I'm a writer, and I'll be writing more articles come January. My area, of course, has always been brutalized Kenyans. And one of the stories I want to do immediately is a few months ago we saw a story of a man being beaten in Malindi, and people quickly ran with the story and said it was the MCA that was being beaten because he was not delivering. It was actually the opposite. It was a school teacher, and they were having a demonstration against the non-delivery of services. I've had opportunity to talk to that young man. He's actually a young man. And when I explained to him what I do, and he was like, I want to tell my story, because the injustice of how the story was told was that he was an MCA being beaten, whereas it is alleged it is the MCA who sent goons to beat him. Now, this is where it gets very twisted. The goons who beat him are very well known to him. He knows all of them. Fulani kanichapa, fulani kanichapa. And then I asked him, walilipo wangapi? Just like that, he knew. He told me 1,000 bob. And so if we tell stories like this, we are saying, look, that MCA was protecting his position. So he paid 4,000, 5,000 for these people to be, and I was asking the community, why didn't the people react? It doesn't matter if there were people fighting or if it was even the MCA being beaten. Why didn't people stop that fight? So there's need to talk about, especially for people who are not in Kenya, who want to know the intricacies of Kenya right now, because a lot has happened. The ground has shifted so much that you can't even recognize your country anymore, and not in a bad way. And I'll finish. I'll finish by saying my vision when I started coming to space was one day I would have intergenerational conversations. So when you see Professor Kivuta Kibwana coming to my spaces, that's answered prayer. There's nothing special that I have, but I've actually challenged him, and I've told him, if you are given gifts of being a good leader, and then you keep quiet and you don't speak up, then maybe your calling was for now, not for all those years that you're a big shot, that you are a governor or a minister. And the last thing I'll just want again to speak to my spirituality is saying every generation, there's a generation that compromises and there's a generation that refuses to compromise. So there's a town called Masako, which was later called Machakos. That town is named after Paramount Chief Masako, whom I would call my great-grandfather. But my great-grandfather was compromised. In the sense he became a paramount chief. But his father before him was called Eluvia, and he was resisting the colonialists even settling where he came from. And I say this that to say when I speak and when I do the things I do, I know it comes from my heritage. And I'm careful to deduce then what happened to Masaku's son. Masaku's son then was gay. Gay again. He enjoyed the fruits of the freedom too much, and he was paid. And so when I tell people like Raila are paid, you stop feeling loyal to them. They were paid. I say that because my great uncle was paid. He was paid by being given a post of a minister. He was paid by the entitlement that he walked around with life like he didn't want to. My relatives was in Skie. He didn't want to pay bills because he had fought for freedom. And so when I tell you, let's not do that. Let's not do that with Raila. Let's not even do that with Omtata. It's let's just learn that, you know what, you sacrificed yourself. Yes, you're Nyako. You know why you did it. I don't want people to come and think I'm here so that I can take pictures of myself and show you that I'm fighting for anyone. It's just a new dispensation. We are doing media practice in a very different way. And so I hope even this day, as we've crossed the year, that this show today, for all those hours that we've been here, has encouraged someone, and it has warned those abductors that mukinishika maisha yenu itabadilika. Hey, mutaomba hadi pesa ya kununua underwear. For real, I feel like the protection and the confidence I have is, if something happens to me, the work that I've done for the last 6 months and the work that I hope to continue doing will keep KOT, Sonko, and Joshua. It will give them, hope that, the reason I did it is when my daughters came out in the streets and my sons, who I consider my sons, I told them, Msiende tena mkuuawa. I've got you in the sense of I can do this with my voice, the sound of my voice. I can tell stories. And so I know I can see mic requests, but you can feel my energy is going down to make a Joshua up just to tell him that you're not alone. We appreciate what you're doing for your country. We actually do trust the courage you have is for our old generation. So it's a lot of responsibility. But if you get a burnout and if you can't do it, please take a break, and if you suffer too much in terms of just how to make ends meet, talk to us. Don't let them talk to you, because they're going to come for you. They will not even come directly. They will come through proposals of doing a project, of mobilizing youth. And I did a show recently about the return of big wigs. I didn't do that. And what I'll keep telling people is the day a major big demo will be called by an authentic voice to be that. But meanwhile, there's no harm in this pocket